All right, let's journey back to the 14th century, to a masterpiece of literature, Giovanni Boccaccio's The Decameron. It's a massive collection of stories, 100 of them to be exact, but we're going to zoom in on just one. A tale of a love so powerful, it ends up destroying everything in its path. And that's really the big question here, isn't it? We usually think of tragedy as some random, outside force that just swoops in and messes things up. But what if the poison is already inside? What if the love story itself holds the seeds of its own destruction? Well, that's exactly what we're about to dive into. So our story kicks off with a huge dream. We're in the busy city of Marseille with 6 young lovers who are just completely fed up. They decide to risk it all. They sell off their family estates, secretly pool a bunch of jewels, and plan this grand escape to start a new life totally on their own terms. And this wasn't just some pipe dream. They actually pulled it off. For a little while, it was everything they imagined, and then some.
Okay, so let's meet the cast of characters here. We've got 3 guys, Restagnone, Folco, and Ughetto, and they're each in love with one of 3 sisters. Restagnone is with Ninetta, Folco's with Maddalena, and Ughetto is with Bertella. You're going to want to remember these pairings because their loyalties, their passions, while they're about to drive this entire story off a cliff.
And believe it or not, their escape is a massive success. They land on the gorgeous island of Crete, and with their fortune, they build an absolute paradise. I'm talking luxurious houses, tons of servants, non-stop parties, hunting. They are living like royalty, totally in love and totally happy. It really is the perfect life. But you know how these stories go. Perfection is a fragile thing, and one tiny crack is about to appear that will bring the whole thing crashing down.
And it's wild how fast it all falls apart. Boccaccio seems to be hinting that even a perfect life can get, well, boring. Restagnone, who used to be obsessed with Ninetta, starts to lose interest. Then, at a local festival, he sees another woman and becomes completely infatuated. He's throwing parties just for her, showering her with attention, and Ninetta sees every single bit of it. Her love starts to twist into this ugly, burning jealousy.
And this right here, this is the pivot point for the whole tragedy. Boccaccio is crystal clear about this. The huge love Ninetta felt for Restagnone doesn't just fade away. No, it transforms. It becomes an equally huge and vicious hatred. Her sadness turns into rage, and that rage wants one thing: revenge.
So she doesn't just sit and cry about it. Nope, she gets cold, she gets calculated. She finds a local woman who knows how to make poisons and buys a deadly dose. That night, Restagnone isn't feeling well, so she mixes the poison into his drink, hands it to him, and by morning, he's dead.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? She wasn't just hurt. She felt publicly shamed. And in her mind, the only way to answer that kind of shame was death. This single act of revenge, well, it's the first domino to fall in a truly terrible chain reaction. At first, nobody suspects a thing. Everyone just mourns Restagnone. But a few days later, the woman who sold the poison gets arrested for something else. Under torture, she spills everything, and suddenly this tragedy is about to get a whole lot more complicated. The Duke of Crete has Ninetta arrested in the dead of night. She confesses right away. Her fate is sealed. She's going to be burned at the stake. Her friends are desperate, but the Duke won't budge. So it looks like it's over. What hope is there? Well, that hope, strangely enough, lies with her sister, Maddalena. Turns out the Duke has had a thing for her for a long time, but she's always turned him down. Now, in total desperation, she sends him a message with an unthinkable deal. She'll spend one night with him if he secretly lets Ninetta go free.
And the Duke agrees. He puts on a show, telling everyone Ninetta was executed by being drowned at sea. That night, he goes to Maddalena's, and in return for her sacrifice, he brings Ninetta back to her alive. It's a horrific price to pay, but it's an act of incredible sisterly love. But here's the truly tragic part. This secret act of loyalty, this sacrifice meant to save a life, is about to be misinterpreted in the worst way possible, and it's going to lead to even more bloodshed.
So, Folco, who is Maddalena's lover, he was conveniently detained by the Duke to keep him out of the way. The next morning, he's released. He goes home expecting to comfort Maddalena over her sister's death, and instead he finds Ninetta there, alive. He is absolutely floored. You can just imagine his mind racing, right? How is this even possible? Everyone said she was dead. He immediately knows some kind of dirty deal went down, and he has to know what it was.
Maddalena tries to lie to make up a story, but Folco won't let it go. Finally, she breaks down and tells him the whole truth about her sacrifice. But Folco, blinded by his own jealousy and pride, he doesn't see loyalty. He doesn't see a sister saving another sister. All he sees is that the woman he loves slept with another man. And in a blind, jealous rage, as she's begging for mercy, he pulls his sword and kills Maddalena right there on the spot. Realizing what he's just done, he knows he's got to run. He finds Ninetta, tells her they have to leave, and together they grab what they can and disappear from the island forever.
And the tragedy just keeps cascading downward. 2 couples are now gone, either dead or on the run. But the story's not over. The final awful price is going to be paid by the last couple left, the ones who had absolutely nothing to do with any of this, Ughetto and Bertella. So the next day, Maddalena's body is found. The Duke, who it seems really did care for her, is furious. Ughetto's personal enemies see their chance and accuse him and Bertella of the murder. The Duke has them arrested and brutally tortured until they confess to a crime they didn't commit. Facing death, they use the last of their hidden money to bribe the guards and escape to the island of Rhodes with nothing. Having lost everyone and everything, they die shortly after in complete poverty. And that's how Boccaccio wraps it up. A perfect dream, a paradise built by 6 lovers, totally and completely destroyed, and you can trace it all back to one man's wandering eye and one woman's uncontrollable rage.
It leaves us with a really tough question. Who's really at fault here? Was it Restagnone for cheating, Ninetta for her murderous revenge, Folco for his violent pride, or was it just a cruel twist of fate that ended up punishing the innocent? The story seems to say that once jealousy gets into a perfect situation, it just corrupts everything and everyone it touches, leaving nothing but ruin behind.